Would you like to be somebody who understands what a shadow archetype manifestation can look like in your behavior, or in mine in this case? Then watch this entire video where I explain what happened to me yesterday when my shadow crept out from the darkness of my unconscious mind. Now, before we get into it, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Let's get into it. Okay, so the shadow archetype is a concept which entails a part of your unconscious mind which includes repressed ideas, weaknesses, insecurities, instincts, and your shortcomings, and is usually described as the source of your violence, sexual urges, negative human emotions, impulses like rage, envy, greed, selfishness, desire, and the striving for power. And the shadow sort of forms out of our attempts to adapt to cultural norms and expectations because, socially acting out these violent urges and these sexual behaviors are often, they're socially unacceptable. Hence, in order to fit in, we need to repress them back into our unconscious. And obviously, because the shadow lies in your unconscious, means you're unconscious of it, which means you cannot control it, and it lies beyond your immediate awareness and reach unless you have integrated it into your conscious mind. And I've tried to integrate it before by being aware of my resentment and the dark fantasies that dwell in my thoughts, and also trying to imagine what sort of horrific acts I would be capable of manifesting. And Carl Jung, the sort of founder, or let's say a promoter of the collective unconscious and archetypes, said that we need to integrate our archetypes and the contents of our unconscious mind into our consciousness. That way we will be able to control our thoughts and behaviors that occurred because our archetypes were producing them or trying to send them into our conscious mind. Now we can control them, whilst beforehand the archetypes took control of us and manipulated us without us being aware of it. And it is dangerous if archetypes are repressed deep into the unconscious, because the further they are repressed and the more they're repressed, the more powerless the human becomes when the archetype's unleashed. It's like you're pulling it back with more and more tension, and then it will gain more and more momentum downwards, and then when it is triggered, it absolutely wallops you and it wreaks havoc. And the archetypes are eventually unleashed. Certain situations will trigger the archetype within you to come and say hello, and these are very different situations, like, I don't know, family conflicts or dating or conflicts in life, or those are just examples. And if the shadow is coming to say hello, brace yourself, because you'll get a glimpse of what evil looks like. Now, Carl Jung also stated that simply thinking about archetypes is not enough to integrate them fully. You need to actually experience the archetypes. And I hadn't really experienced a significant shadow manifestation since I started with my shadow integration, which was about a year ago. But oh boy, yesterday, my shadow peeked its head out from the abyss. Now, what happened yesterday is, I'll tell a little bit of the story. So I woke up pretty grumpy. Now, it was because I woke up later than I usually do, and I know waking up at different times of the day disturbs your circadian rhythms, like your biorhythmic clock, which regulates your mood, and so I was kind of grumpy because of that. And I was able to stabilize my mood throughout the day. However, I'm in a current situation where I don't really know what to do with my future, because I just graduated and I don't know what to do, whether I should go and work, or whether I should do something entrepreneurial with these YouTube videos, for example. And so I'm quite stressed about the future. Uncertainty gives me an unsettling feeling. And I felt pressured to follow a certain career path because it would benefit me. And this person who's close to me wanted me to go into this because it would benefit them, and also, but morely benefit me. But I felt emotionally pressured to go into this career path, and resentment was festering within me. And in the evening then, I went to go and walk my dogs, and I was very impatient. it's very hot right now, and they're kind of old and small dogs, so they can't walk very fast. But I was just charging through and like pulling them and being really impatient with them and getting aggressive. My aggression was boiling over. And it was like this stress about the future and this resentment I feel towards someone had accumulated to a point which I really couldn't handle anymore. So after walking the dogs, I went to tell them and was like, I was being very aggressive with the dogs and I'm ashamed of it. And I had to tell them how I was feeling. I just let it out. And we went for a walk then afterwards. And I mean, they understood, but we went for a walk then, and there were two people I went with, and they were behind me, and I was just charging ahead, and I felt like I wanted to hurt someone, like, because the shadow was like taking control of me, and I was like furious. And when we were walking, this kid came and was with another kid, and must have been like around the age of like 12 maybe, and was cycling in front and turned around and like gave this stupid look to us for some reason. Like he was trying to like screw around for some reason. But I was just like, I deadlocked eyes with this kid and just like stared him down. And he occupied my thoughts for the majority of the rest of the walk. I was just thinking of what I should have done to the kid. Like I wanted to hurt him really bad. And my blood was boiling. The resentment and dissatisfaction with my current state and myself was just gaining momentum. And I was going to go to bed after the walk, and I was journaling, but then I remembered after the journal entry why I was resentful at this person, and I went back to them and told them how I felt, and they showed understanding, and I asked them how they felt, and they said they felt anxious because they could sense my aggression and it was dangerous. Now, I didn't say really anything too aggressive, but clearly they could observe how I was walking and my energy frequency was violent. And we settled the issue, and I went to bed then, which brought me some peace, but I continued to have these fantasies in my mind that were running and flashing in my head, like these dark images. They were like bloody, violent, like literally bloody, violent snapshots, and I was really frightened by them. Now, I've been very conscious of my dark imagination and what kind of dark images it is capable of painting. But these weren't necessarily more violent, but they terrified me on a different level, because I felt how easily they could have come to fruition and how potentially realistic they are. I could sense how close I was to manifesting them, which I hadn't before. I hadn't felt that before. And this was because I felt my aggression and my blood boil. I was conscious of it. I knew I was at the brink of manifesting evil and creating hell on earth. I was at the verge of the abyss. And this experience really terrified me, because it was the first time that I was not in control of my shadow. I wasn't imagining these fantasies consciously anymore, but they were just taking hold of me, and they were just playing like autonomously in my head without me nurturing them, let's say. It was unconsciously, like my shadow was unconsciously unleashed and took hold of my ropes. I went to bed and woke up the next morning, and I feel, this is today by the way, I feel transformed. I feel calm again, but with a greater respect for myself. Like I feel like I reached a new checkpoint. I was sort of thrown into a room of darkness. I was thrown into a new room of darkness, which gave me a new source of light. I had this new respect for myself, and I've the evidence now of what I am capable of producing, because I could sense I was very close to manifesting it, which I hadn't come to before so close. And I'm now aware of how crucial it is to prevent my shadow from actually manifesting itself in my behavior. Because before, I kind of imagined what acts of evil I could produce, but now I had the evidence. But it's interesting because I feel calm again today. I feel relaxed, and well, I've certainly integrated a newer section, like a new section of my shadow archetype into my consciousness, because I've experienced it now where it took hold of me without me trying to imagine how it could take hold of me. So this was a first-hand experience, and it is absolutely horrific. It is terrifying. Yeah. So in conclusion, my shadow took hold of me yesterday, and I was on the verge of manifesting, letting it manifest in my behavior, which it thankfully didn't, but I felt it tremble right throughout my soul. It was just quaking. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Thank you for listening.